Hello guys, I'm live now. Hello, hello. So I figured that for now on, I guess I could do political streams on this channel. I don't really particularly want to, but I guess I can since my other channel's not working. Okay, what the hell? My YouTube page still says that I'm not live, even though I am on my screen. So utterly stupid. There we go. Now I'm live. Now it says I'm live. Gosh, I hate my phone sometimes. Alright, edit real quick. Just go ahead and change the thumbnail to that. Done. Save. Alrighty. What's up? What's up, guys? Go ahead and put on the window capture real quick. There we go. Kind of adjust it a little bit. So that should do it. Hello. Alright, I think we're all set. So, yeah, it's 9/11. Figured I'd do a 9/11 remembrance thing, and I don't have anything special planned for it, sadly. This is a last-minute thing, but I also want to pay respects to Charlie Kirk again, stuff like that. So, yeah. How's everyone doing? Oops, excuse me. They haven't. The shooter's still at large. He's still running around somewhere. They're looking for him. His intention was to cause division, and he wanted to kill Kirk because he thought he was a fascist. They found scribbles onto the bullet casings that were Antifa and transgender stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Also, I love your new profile. I love it, Legion. I think it's awesome. I don't think it's incompetence. I just think he hasn't been caught yet. TMZ it's a news organization, right? Last I checked, it's a news organization. Um, yeah, it's a media. Yeah, so I was right. Yeah, it's a media outlet thing. Left wing, of course, because all media is pretty much left wing. Even Fox News is pretty. They're neoconish. I wouldn't say left wing, but they're neoconish. So. It's quite possible. It is quite possible. My theory is that I have two theories. Okay. It was either a deranged whack job who wanted to cause chaos, or it was an op by the Democrats to get rid of one of Trump's greatest allies. Because of Charlie, the youth was becoming conservative, and they can't win if the youth becomes conservative, so. Oh, hey, nerd. I'll be right back. I need to grab some water. Okay, I'm back. So honestly, today's just kind of a talking stream. I don't have any special plans about this stream, other than just keeping it kind of like memorial-esque due to it being 9/11. They always do that though. That's part of the investigation thing. They arrest someone because it's a suspect. They prove that it's not a suspect, and they have to let him go. They find another suspect. They arrest him, prove that it's not him, and they have to let him go. That's the benefit of living in a free society, is you are able to from what I've heard, it was also a 30-06. Yeah. Apparently, from what it looks like, the shooter did not account for bullet drop, and so the shooter aimed for Kirk's head, but because of the bullet drop, it hit his neck. But yeah, pretty crazy. You're right, Legion. A new revolution's happening. I think we need to make new legislation that outlaws the far left. Because until we do something like that, they're just going to keep killing people. It's just going to keep happening. I wanted to find real quick. Is that it? That's a lot. That's a long video. I don't want to watch all of that. let's go ahead. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Alright, so White House. The White House. Okay, so I wanted to, because I already saw Trump's statement, but I kind of wanted to react to it on stream as well.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger.
Well, nerd, from what I saw, it was about 200 feet away on a different building. So it's possible he could have saw his head. I don't know everything, but it's possible.
At the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of
Well, if he was aiming for the heart, why did he hit the neck? Because if he didn't encounter a bullet drop, if he was aiming for the heart, it would have hit, like, his stomach area? His gut? It wanted to hit his neck. So that's why I think he was aiming for the head, is because the bullet drop made it hit the neck, because that's where he was shot. Wind does not affect a bullet that much. Not from that distance. It was about 200 meters away. Yeah, it's a good point. Realistically, the bullet drop wouldn't have been that bad. But I mean, an hour or two of training and you can make that shot relatively easily. It was only 200 meters away. I've seen 12-year-olds do it. In person. I've seen it happen. It's not a hard shot to take. The guy only needs to take a short course on how to fire a rifle and he could pretty much do it.
We ask that everyone.
So from what I know, the security was on campus security. It was the college's security. So naturally they wouldn't be looking for that type of thing, because it's not like the Secret Service. It's not like the Secret Service looking for a sniper. I don't think they were looking for anything. Which is their fault. Don't get me wrong, but they probably just aren't trained enough to know that could happen. Just like, well, it's just a college event. This has never happened before. Nothing's going to happen. Blah blah blah. They got too confident, and then something happened, and yeah. Now I will say though, there was someone who filmed the sniper before the shot happened, but the guy for some reason didn't go to the cops or anything. He saw him, was like, "Huh, there's a guy on the roof," and then just kept walking. He caught it on camera on his phone, and then he just, for some reason, didn't think to go to cops or anything, which is stupid. Honestly, that guy should be arrested for incompetence. Let's see if I can find when Trump gets on stage. That is a good point. But then again, the Trump shooter tried to go for his head, and the Trump shooter had a way harder shot and a way worse setup. So, liberals aren't exactly competent with guns. They want a headshot because they think it's like Call of Duty. When does President Trump get on stage? I'm not watching hours of this. I just want to hear his full thing. Wow, they're really ringing that bell, huh? Okay. There's Raising Cane. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It doesn't really matter where the guy was trying to aim. He just was aiming in the first place, and that's the problem. Alright, come on. When does Trump get on stage? I love Hegseth, but this... Come on. There he is. Alright, got him. So the bullet was 30-06, from what we know. And it was from... I think the make and model was an old Mauser hunting rifle. I think. That's what I heard. I don't take my word for that, but that's what I heard. It was a Mauser hunting rifle. Yes, something like that would require training. I can't do a shot like that at this moment. But if I did like a 2-hour course with a good teacher, I could do it. It requires some training. It doesn't require heavy training. Once I was at a gun range and I saw a dad working with his son for about 2 hours. His son was about 12-ish. And then the son just, after that 2 hours or so, he just started hitting the shot perfectly. And it was a long shot. This is when I was in Boy Scouts. We were at a gun range that one of my guys, one of the leaders, owned. Yeah, it was crazy. It was cool at the moment, but like I got to shoot an AK for the first time during that. It was fun. I got to blow up a watermelon with a shotgun. That was fun. But alright, I think this is when Trump gets on stage. So we're gonna watch this.
Thank you very much.
Trump.
Yeah, 30-06 is a big bullet. I mean, that's way bigger than 5.56. Honestly, we should have kept 30-06 as our main military ammunition, but whatever. It was our ammunition during yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Thank you, Nerd, for reminding me about that. Well, I think something will come out, But again, it just happened, so they're still trying to figure stuff out. So maybe in a month or so we'll know more. Sorry, my brother's nurse was asking me something. That's true. I mean, if Kirk had Secret Service protection for whatever reason, he probably would have survived. Because Trump shooter, as soon as he fired, the Secret Service milked him. As soon as he fired, the Secret Service milked him. So, but in my opinion, Kirk was president someday, just because of how well spoken and charismatic he was. I think he would have been a future president. Yeah. I don't think that. Also, hi Badlander, welcome. I don't think it was Israel. Kirk was one of their greatest defenders. It is? That better? Is that better? Oh, my audio's low. Why is my audio low? That's why. I'm sorry, guys. My audio is really quiet for some reason. That's stupid. It was perfectly fine earlier, but now it's... Is that better? Maybe? Nope, still not. Gosh, dang it. Sorry, guys. Alright, there we go. That should be good. Yeah, that reads us better. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a conspiracy theory. I don't think that. I mean, is Israel possible going to do it? Yeah. But I don't think that's what they would do. Why would Israel kill someone like him? They have way more bigger things to worry about. Than the opinion of some guy. Now am I too loud? What? I'm good now. Am I too loud now, or am I good? Because on my thing it says I'm good. Before it said I was too quiet. Now it says I'm fine. Yeah, but Kirk was still pro-Israel. I mean, I'm relatively pro-Israel. I mean, I don't think they should come first by any means, but I'd rather them than Hamas. I also don't understand the whole Israel controls the world thing. I think it's dumb. They don't. It's quite obvious they don't. But I mean, you never know. That's just my opinion. I don't mean to discredit you, Badlander. That's my opinion. That's my view on it. So let's go ahead and see what the president has to say here. And I heard that he mentioned Kirk. So.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I'll look into it.
The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big. Thank you, my fellow Americans. 84 years ago this morning, the banks of the Potomac were filled with the clamor of construction workers who broke ground on the building now known as the Pentagon on September 11th, 1941. At the time, it was the biggest building ever built. From that moment forward, this structure stood as a monument to American strength, power, and cherished American freedom. Exactly 6 decades later, on September 11th, 2001,
yeah,
those same walls built with the sweat and muscle, blood of our parents and grandparents were scarred by flame and shaken by terror as our country came face to face with pure evil. On that fateful day, savage monsters attacked the very symbols of our civilization. Yet here in Virginia and in New York and in the skies over Pennsylvania, Americans did not hesitate. They stood on their feet and they showed the world that we will never yield, we will never bend, we will never give up, and our great American flag will never, ever fail. That terrible morning 24 years ago, time itself stood still. The laughter of school children fell silent. The rush of our traffic came to an absolute halt. And for 2,977 innocent souls and their families, the entire world came crashing down so suddenly. In the quarter of a century since those acts of mass murder, 9/11 family members have felt the weight of missed birthdays and empty bedrooms, journals left unfinished, and dreams left unfulfilled. To every member that still feels a void every day of your lives, the First Lady and I unite with you in sorrow. And today, as one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001. Amid the horror of that morning, some used cell phones and office lines to whisper their final words to those who mattered most. They whispered indeed. At 8:59 a.m. aboard United Flight 175, Brian Sweeney called his wife, Julie. He told her, do good, go have good times. I totally love you. I'll see you again. I'll meet you up there. 4 minutes later, his plane hit the south tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:12 a.m. aboard American Airlines Flight 77, Renee May called her mom. Just the day before, Renee had learned that she was 7 weeks pregnant, but she never got the chance to share the news. She simply said, I love you, Mom. 25 minutes later, Renee's plane struck the Pentagon. So violent, a strike it was. At 9:53 a.m. aboard United Flight 93, Elizabeth Waineo called her stepmom. They're getting ready to break into the cockpit. What do I do? I love you so much. They're going to break in. 10 minutes later, Flight 93 ended in the hallowed field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At 10:25 a.m., Tom McGinnis was trapped on the 92nd floor of the North Tower when he told his wonderful wife, Elena, on the phone, there are people jumping from the floors above us. If we get out of here, it'll be a total miracle. I love you, darling. Take care of Caitlin, beautiful daughter. 3 minutes later, the tower fell. Out of the ash, we witnessed the awesome power of that incredible love. We've seen it rise again. Out of the wreckage, we watched unbelievable courage suddenly take form. And out of the darkness, we saw the timeless truth of American character shine for the world to see. In America, we take blows, but we never buckle. We bleed, but we do not bow. And we defy the fear, endure the flames, and emerge from the crucible of every hardship stronger, prouder, and greater than ever before. Last year, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. In New York, there were heroes like Chuck Costello, a 46-year-old elevator mechanic, and a member of the Knights of Columbus. He selflessly ran into the World Trade Center to free people trapped in the elevators. His body was not found until the following January, deep under the debris. While
What's up?
going through his
Welcome to the stream.
belongings, Chuck's widow, Mary, a phenomenal woman, discovered a personal prayer written in his own words, help me to light the way for those in the dark, and when I enter the darkness, let me not panic, but patiently wait to remember the light. Beautiful words. When the time came, Chuck ran boldly into the darkness of hell on earth, and now he shines in the light of heaven above. We remember him this morning. That day we learned that the American heroic spirit was all around us.
Gonna end it right there. Goes on for another about 20 minutes. But it's cool that he's giving Charlie the Medal of Freedom. He deserves it. Welcome, Big Horse. Are you new to the channel? I don't think I've seen you in stream before. I don't think it was the Jews. I mean, maybe. I mean, I just looked it up on my phone. You're right. Kirk was starting to talk bad about him, but I don't think that the Jews had anything to do with it. I think this whole worldview that the Jews are in charge of everything is dumb. It's obvious they aren't, because if they were, Israel wouldn't be constantly being attacked. Why do I support Israel? Well, because they aren't terrorists. I support Pakistan too. I like Pakistan. Um, Most of the time, Israel's been attacked and just had to defend itself. But right now, I don't really care for Israel. I think they're being a little too aggressive. They need to calm down. They need to stop. The USS Liberty was an accident, dude. Both sides acknowledge that. It was an accident. Israel thought it was something else. Now, do I think that Israel should have done it? No, they shouldn't have done it. They should have done more research and waited, but they didn't. And the U.S. has done the same exact thing. We've made mistakes in war as well. Mistakes always happen in war. But again, I'm not pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. I want the war to end. But I'm not inherently anti-Israel. Well, yeah, I condemn it. It happened. It was a mistake. It was bad. Duh. People died. Duh. I don't think Israel's inherently evil because they did that, though. Israel's a country like any other that's trying to defend itself, and they made a mistake. I condemned the mistake. They apologized. We made up. It's what happened. If that's how the veterans feel, that's how they feel, but that's my thoughts on it. I don't know, dude. It's not a subject I particularly know a lot of. I don't know a lot of Israel stuff. That's why I try to stay out of it. It's because I don't know the history all that well. I try not to talk about geopolitics of a specific region when I don't know the history, because you get a lot wrong, and it's just theories and stuff, and it never works out well. So. Not what I wanted. Okay. Yeah, I heard about it. There's always something going on in Nepal. It's Nepal. Who cares? I don't care about Nepal in the slightest. It's just Nepal. Who cares? They have a weird flag. Who cares? I don't. I don't even think Indians and Pakistanis care about it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You guys care about it a little bit more because it's a neighbor. I think Nepal's insignificant to literally anything. They do nothing. Like, nothing. At all. I don't think they've ever had any major significant thing in history at all. So, it's honestly a miracle they're even still independent. I don't get it. I don't understand why they exist. It's kind of like me with Canada. Why does Canada exist? I don't know. Why does Nepal exist? I don't know. Here, let me whoa, what? Police investigate mass shooting after 6 wounded in Tampa. What? Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I don't like Canada. They shouldn't exist. They don't deserve to exist. They do nothing. The country's collapsing. It's gonna become a United States territory most likely in the 2030s. But or 2040s, sorry, 2040s. Their country's collapsing. The economy is horrible in Canada. The Canadian dollar is like 40 cents compared to the American dollar. And it's still dropping. Their population is an aging population, which means in about 20 years or so, most of their population is going to be dead. And there's just so much stuff that's going on in Canada. Actually, you know what? Sure, why not? Let's. It's not that they don't have a reason to exist. Okay, they have a distinct culture. I respect their culture, but it just at this current moment, I think it'd be more beneficial for them to become a United States territory. Because they can't defend themselves. I mean, the only one that really has a distinct culture is Quebec, which I'm honestly fine with Quebec being independent because I hate Quebec. But I mean, they do. I don't know. I don't like them. It's Canada. I don't like them. I think Alberta should become a state, or at least should become independent. Honestly, if it became independent, it'd become like Qatar. It'd be able to become rich off of its oil. It has the second largest oil supply in the world underneath its feet. I think it's just below Texas in amount of. I don't. The way I see Canada is it's the Reddit of the world. Canada's just a backwards culture, in my opinion. Like, if their culture is banning guns and getting... If their culture is banning guns and... Sorry, I stuttered for some reason. And banning hiking and stuff like that, then honestly, I don't kind of want them as a state. I want them as a territory. Because if Canada gets invaded, it won't be Canadians defending their country. It's going to be Americans defending their country. Because most of Canada is boomers, and boomers don't fight for anything. Unless it's with a sign. So... I just don't like Canada. I like Alberta and Saskatchewan, and that's about it. Because they're cool. But, hey Studio of Art, welcome. Not much. We're talking about Canada at the moment, and how I don't like Canada. Yeah, I could... Yeah, Scotland's part of the UK. It's not Ireland. Scotland's part of the UK, dude. A part of them don't want to be a part of the UK, but Scotland is a part of the UK. I know you're trying to... I know you're being probably sarcastic, but... Yeah, actually, there's a video recently that came out. Monosaur Z. Let's react to this video. Greater Alaska, why the US should annex Greenland and Canada. It's a good video. Let's watch it, guys.
Actors. We can make you believe we know what we're doing, when in fact, we do not.
That actor's pretty good.
A discussion that titillated the media for days and weeks on end was President Donald Trump's bold proposal to make of Canada the 51st state. Americans grew enthusiastic, media coverage was skeptical. Albertans had proposed taking them alone as an addition to the United States. But since then, the discussion...
Also, FYI, if you guys want to keep talking in chat, I can just pause it real quick and I can talk to you guys. And then when things slow down, I'll play the video again. So feel free to ask questions and stuff.
Discussion has seemingly calmed and gradually faded away. Understandably, the administration may have other priorities at the moment, but have American ambitions for Canada really vanished? Not even just Canada, but ambitions for the much-desired Greenland as well. In the case of Greenland in particular, certain moves have been made to orient treatment of Greenland from an extension of Denmark and Europe to an essential part of the North American sphere, namely placing Greenland under US Northern Command, symbolically showing to the world that the US considers Greenland a part of its domestic security space, in practice undermining Danish claims to the territory and opening the door for increased US military presence in the area. At the same time, a rival like China has taken to referring to itself as a, quote, near-Arctic state, increased its investment in icebreakers, and is closely monitoring resource discoveries on the island, of which there was a major recent discovery, finding a large deposit of rare earth elements. With Greenland having recently rebuffed an effort by...
Yes, I watched Brett Cooper. She just had her baby. I'm very happy for her.
Trump to invest $120 million in resource extraction, concerns are no doubt rising in Washington that Greenland may seek to partner with China at the exclusion of the US, or at the very least...
I think we should become 100% self-sufficient, just because that's smart. But cutting ties with the UN would probably be a bad idea, because we're the #1 economy. It's kind of hard to do that, and it could alienate us from the rest of the world. The rest of the world would probably be like, alright, fine. Screw you. Oh gosh, excuse me. I don't like isolationism. Like, I like self-sufficiency, but I don't think that means we need to be isolationist. Do we really need them? We don't need them, but we still need friends. So, like, maybe not necessarily the UN, but maybe NATO and all that we should keep. Because, say what you will about NATO, I genuinely think it's still a good thing. Trump does too. That's why he hasn't pulled us out of it. The only thing Trump didn't like about NATO was the fact that they weren't spending money. But now that they are, and now that they're trying to, Trump doesn't really hate them anymore. I don't think he ever really hated them. So, I think we should try to be friends with Europe at all times, just because they're a good trade partner to have. Also, the UN kind of serves our whim. So, like, we're on the Security Council. We're the most powerful country in the world. If the UN wants something, they come to us, and we tell them if it's okay or not. Like, most of the time the UN needs our permission to do anything. So, I think that's a good weapon to have. At least geopolitically. So. But like the World Health Organization, that stuff, and I get rid of that. I'm glad we pulled out of it. But just the overall UN, I think it's fine.
Fail to harness its resource wealth alone. Likewise, Russia has begun attempting to muscle itself into this sphere, warning of military action if conflict breaks out over Greenland. And even in spite of Denmark's resistance to American influence on the island, they could not stop themselves from approving the establishment of new US military bases in Greenland. In that time, the US has raised its military presence in the region, stationing nuclear submarines nearby to deter Russian encroachment. This is a scramble for power that is developing slowly but surely and won't just evaporate on its own. Keep in mind this is only...
Yes, it has. You're right, Combine. The World Health Organization is a Chinese puppet.
Only Greenland we're talking about. We've yet to address the elephant in the room, that is Canada. But all of this is interconnected as the United States moves to assert exclusive control over its sphere of the Arctic, both for strategic and economic reasons. As tense these circumstances might be, there is a viable path forward that will give the US what it wants, while addressing the needs and concerns of Canada and Greenland.
Yeah, I see your point, and it is a good point. I just think we have a lot of power over the UN because we're their piggy bank. So, like, if we say, like, hey, do what we want, or we leave, guess what? They're going to do whatever we want. The UN is nothing. They have no power over us, in my opinion. Just, the UN literally has nothing on us. Like, they can't, it's not like they're going to try to fight us if we don't do anything with them. Like, just, like, with what military? Like, just, that too. China's on the Security Council, Russia's on the Security Council. Leaving the UN would basically give it to China and Russia, and I don't like that. That'd be like handing the world over to communism. I don't like that idea.
They've taken this video down 3 times because it teaches you how to hit lottery tickets every week. Watch now while it's still up before they take it down again.
Hello audience, Mr. Z here with another video for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have videos like this on history.
Skip his little promo thing. There we go.
States annexed the entirety of Canada, as many have jumped on, and as Trump himself has teased, I'd like to propose an alternative I call Greater Alaska. Alaska is the United States' northernmost territory and presently the only real foothold the US has in the Arctic. What the concept of Greater Alaska would suggest is an extending of Alaska's border across part of British Columbia and the Canadian territories of the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. These are not provinces of Canada's, but territories which lack sovereignty, do not directly control their natural resources, lack major development, and are effectively operated at the whim of the federal government. Properly annexing these territories into Alaska could not only stand to benefit the United States, but Canada and the territories themselves.
I agree with you. Legion, it needs to be restructured. And the World Economic Forum needs to be abolished. Not necessarily. China might try to. But Russia honestly hates the UN just as much as we do at this moment. So I think we might. It's like a 50-50 if Russia would support any changes. China wouldn't because they are taking advantage of the current UN. But I guess that would make it so that I guess technically China could veto it because it only takes one member to veto. But yeah, I think it's kind of 50-50 if it would happen or not. We definitely need to use our power more in the UN to get good things done. Like, we need to use our power to stop the destruction of free speech in Europe. 100%.
How, you may ask? Canada's territories make up approximately 40% of the country's landmass, however have a population smaller than the state of Wyoming, barely registering 100,000 citizens combined. With the bulk of Canada's population concentrated in the provinces, and specifically in its east.
What's up, Courier? Welcome.
The territories are remarkably underserved, lacking critical infrastructure including a major electrical grid, reliable all-season roads, clean drinking water. Even housing in the territories is described as shabby, outdated, and severely overcrowded. The problem is, with just how underpopulated the territories are, Canada cannot justify developing so large a region which comprises nearly half of its entire landmass, tragically leaving the population with some of the lowest living standards on the entire continent, and easily far below those of even the poorest US states. While certain market forces did play a role in the poor economic situation faced by the territories, federal neglect and regulation also left these communities destitute, as resource extraction, namely mining, is often the sole economic pillar holding these communities up, and with so little infrastructure, even that is costly and less preferable to cheaper overseas alternatives. The result of this is that the territories depend upon federal subsidies for anywhere from 70 to 90% of their government revenue, starkly contrasting the provinces, which typically range from 10 to 20. These situations significantly contribute to a reality in which Canada cannot effectively defend its Arctic possessions from growing encroachment by Russia and even China, who are outpacing Canada in their Arctic defense. The Canadian government has assessed themselves that their Arctic defense capabilities are stagnant at best and deteriorating at worst. Canada's territories are effectively in a worse version of Greenland's situation, underpopulated, underdeveloped, and underdefended, largely because the countries responsible for them are unwilling or unable to step up to the plate. At the same time, with Canada's refusal to fully develop these territories, they're condemned to be a perpetual money sink, costing the government tens of billions annually. Canada is like Cold War Portugal, desperately clinging onto its colonial territories, but failing to extract anything of great value in them, and on the contrary sinking money needlessly in the hope that they might one day reap the resource wealth of those lands. In 2008, Canada's Prime Minister Harper said the country has two choices for the future of its Arctic lands: use it or lose it. Nearly 2 decades later, how much closer has Canada come to using it? One highway, one Arctic research station, and the promise of just 2 new icebreakers, which have not been built yet and aren't expected to be ready for about another 10 years. Russia's icebreaker fleet is over 3 times the size of Canada's, having built several new ones since 2008. And while the US lags far behind in icebreaker fleet size, with only Alaska in the Arctic, there's not the same demand. Yet even during his first term, President Trump issued a memorandum to develop a plan for an entire new fleet of icebreakers, showing a sheer contrast in urgency felt by the US and Canada despite Canada's larger Arctic presence. While the US is in the process of acquiring Canada's territories, it may as well take Canada's icebreakers off its hands as well, for a generous price of course, and it will be generous considering many are old retrofits that are, and I'm not exaggerating here, only worth their weight in scrap. Canada's entire existing fleet is probably only worth about $2 billion, less than the cost of building one brand new battleship. Plainly, Canada does not have the means to protect its territories, which Russia and China are willing and able to encroach upon, which will then become a problem for both Canada and the United States. Canada is wasting money giving the territories band-aid solutions instead of fully committing to their development and enrichment, which could in turn have tremendous benefits for Canada's economy at large. Ultimately, the inhabitants of the territories have very little to look forward to under Canadian rule. If brought under the benevolent care of the United States, Canada's territories could be expected to be brought to a level of life quality comparable to Alaska. This means a higher life expectancy, revitalization of the resource economy, and diversification of the economy away from just mere resource extraction. Development of all-season highways and roads, building of major oil pipelines, establishment of major sea and airports, extending electricity across the territories, increased access to clean drinking water, cutting the cost of food by as much as half, a permanent fund dividend paid out to the territory citizens just as Alaska does for its own. The list goes on. Alaska isn't perfect. It faces its own shortcomings in the harsh high north, but when compared to the conditions in Canada's territories, it's a world of a difference, and a lot of that boils down to the fact that the United States is simply more capable of tackling big issues than Canada can, or even Denmark in the case of Greenland. Our economy is richer, our population is bigger, our military is stronger, we can provide the territories a life and a future that they simply cannot achieve in their current arrangements. And it's not one-sided either. The US is finding itself driven toward the Arctic by a lot of factors, including its own security. With the world changing as fast as it is, the United States, as the superpower of North America, feels an obligation to protect its sphere of the world. Because at the end of the day, we in North America have been able to be as prosperous as we have, thanks to how removed we are from foreign threats, and that includes smarter, deadlier new weapons that can reach us from across the world in ways that they never could before. A firm position in the Arctic gives the US the best opportunity to flag and intercept any possible threat coming from Asia or Europe before it has a chance to strike us here. And the more we build up that Arctic shield, the safer the continent will be. Let's take a break right here. If you've enjoyed this content so far, I'd like to invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are aiming to hit 300,000 subscribers, so it'd be very much appreciated. Alright, let's get right back to the video. Naturally, there's also the great mineral wealth to be found across the Arctic, from oil to rare earth elements, and the US is among the few countries who can effectively harvest and harness those resources, enriching not just itself, but the communities that are just sitting on these literal gold mines without the equipment or government support to extract it. Beyond this is the fulfillment of America's ambition and right as the great power of North America to do what it must to make the continent a powerful and leading world player. We've heard talks of Trump's ambitions upon the Panama Canal and the asserting of control over the trade that flows between the Pacific and the Atlantic. But there is more than just a southern waterway. There is the famed Northwest Passage, which, as ice sheets recede, has become more accessible and viable as a water route between the oceans, one which China would certainly like to make use of to access European markets and vice versa. An acquisition of Greater Alaska and the Panama Canal ensures the United States dominates all trade moving between the oceans to its east and west, making us not merely masters within our own borders, but masters with whom everyone must deal, pay, and appease, if they want the privilege of passage. We effectively enrich the United States and bolster our global bargaining power with no risk of violence, and our rivals, who may attempt to pressure us through their own economic leverage, now find themselves in check. You pressure us, we pressure you. Now pay me. This is land that Canada cannot do anything with. In fact, when the waters of the Northwest Passage became navigable, world powers insisted Canada open it up to the world. Rightly, they refused to hand over something so strategically valuable, but now, how the hell are they going to enforce their ownership of it? Really, what is Canada supposed to do? The answer is sell it to a friend who can do something with it. Canada will save money which it can invest in its provinces and will net a healthy profit from the sale. The territories will gain investment and development they never could have hoped for under Canada. The United States gains resources and a major strategic asset. North America as a whole benefits because the continent remains secure under the US's watch, not compromised and vulnerable to exploitation by foreign powers in Europe, Russia, or China, who do not live here but see this as a land to harvest and discard. Greater Alaska isn't just a good idea, it is a great idea, and one in which every party involved stands to benefit. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you...
Yeah, that's the video that I like a lot. I think it's a good idea. Well, like you said, it's a great idea, actually. All sides benefit from it. Except China and Russia, which we never want them to benefit, so. So, yeah, I agree with you, Legion. I 100% agree with you. It's just, to be honest, it's inevitable. Canada will join the United States. It's absolutely inevitable. I think I made it... let's see, I think I made a post a while ago. View channel. I think it was one of my first ever posts. So, it's gonna be a lot of scrolling. A lot of scrolling. A lot of scrolling. Also, this is funny. China's a near Arctic civilization. Russia laughs. US laughs. We beat the crap out of China. Yeah, sure. I don't like India, so yeah, go right ahead. Why can't I exit out of this? Hold up. Ah, man. Wow. That was only 3 weeks ago. Wow. My channel grew relatively quickly. Alright, let's see. This is so true. Only 4 million people just become a state already. Yeah, it's so freaking true. Alright. Yep, one of the reasons why I don't like India. Cat, get down. Stupid cat. Come on, where is it? I know I posted it. I didn't realize it was that long ago. Yeah, just give me a second. Also, face reveal. That's me. Oh, come on. I did not know it was this far down. Seriously. Oh, I guess... seriously? I thought I did post it. No! I'll post it later then. That's lame. Okay, so India, Christian discrimination. Oops, nation. Manipur violence? Sure. Alright, let's see here. What's that one? The Economic Times? Let's see, what's a good source? Wikipedia isn't always the best source. I just did. I see it now. Let's see here. Manipur violence. Manipur, the northeastern state of India, has been facing endless violence for the last 5 months. It was in the month of May when the first clashes broke out in Manipur during a tribal solidarity march in the areas bordering Bishnapur and, forgive me for this pronunciation, Churakanpur districts. Intermediate violence emerging from the conflict between the Meitei and Kuki communities has continued to keep the state on the boil till now, claiming over 100. Wow. Tens of thousands have fled their homes. Wow. I did not know all this. I knew there was Christian discrimination, but I did not know all this. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't like India. I think they're a good trading partner. I mean, kind of good trading partner, but I'm going to get heat for this. But the only reason I kind of want them as an ally is because they're just a good source of bodies to throw into the war machine in case of a war. That's the only reason I want them as an ally, is just because it helps balance out the population difference between us and China. I see. Yeah. So Wikipedia. Wiki. Okay. So on the 3rd of May, 2023, ethnic violence erupted in India's northeastern state of Manipur between the Meitei people, a majority that lives in Impal Valley, and the Kiki Zoo tribal communities from the surrounding hills. According to the government figures, around 258 people have been killed in the violence, and 60,000 people have been displaced. Earlier figures also mentioned over 1,000 injured and 32 missing. 4,786 houses were burnt and 386 religious structures were vandalized, including temples and churches. Unofficial figures are higher. Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know this. well, what's this? On 18th of May, the 10 elected legislators belonging to the Kuki community unanimously demanded a separate administration for Kukis, claiming that the Kukis could no longer live amongst the Metis. A month later, the influential Metis civil body, Kukami, declared a Manipuri national war against the Chinkuki narco-terrorists, essentially pitting the two communities against each other. By this time, the situation had already taken the shape of a civil war, with both of the communities arming themselves, some with licensed guns and some with advanced weapons, and setting up bunkers to defend themselves. Metis militias led mobs of civilians to raid state police armories and loot sophisticated arms, matching those of Kukis, whose militant groups were presumed to supply arms to civilians. By October, 6,000 arms and 600,000 rounds of ammunition were said to have been looted, in addition to mortars, grenades, bulletproof vests, police uniforms, etc. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Sorry, my brother was being annoying. Two Kuki women were torched. Whoa. Some stranger's calling me for some reason. Hang up on that. Background. They made a video of it. Sheesh. Yeah. No offense, Combine, but I would never want to live in Southeast Asia. South Asia, sorry, not Southeast. South. Sorry. Nope. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, that's nuts. Ah, wow. I had no idea. I mean, I knew there was some, but I did not know it was like war. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't think all Hindus are bad, same as I don't think all Muslims are bad. But there are definitely bad on both sides. There's always a couple bad people in every group that make the rest look bad. Yeah, that's crazy. It's absolutely nuts, dude. Any other topics you guys want me to talk about or go over? Legion, do you have anything, or Combine, do you want me to go over some other stuff? Oh, you asked me, I think it was last stream, what I thought of the Chinese military parade. Yeah, we can go over that real quick. Let me just finish something on my phone real quick. It shouldn't take that much longer. I think that MAGA is that revolution. But because I don't consider MAGA right wing or left wing, I consider it an American thing. So yeah, that's my viewpoint on it. I don't think like full on like second American Revolution type thing, but because if that happened, we'd no longer be the major power in the world. But I think MAGA is the best way to do it peacefully. We do. Combine, we do. My cat is going underneath my living room carpet. And now he's all dusty. Stupid cat. Sure, comment. What are your overall thoughts on the USA? Do you like the USA? Do you not like the USA? I know Pakistan and the USA have a overall good relationship, but I don't know like the whole relationship. Oh, that's cool. Starting to become the doctor? That's cool. I think the whole thing that MAGA is divisive is only divisive because of the left. Because like Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat, RFK Jr. is an independent but more left-leaning, and they joined MAGA. So I think MAGA is more unifying than people think it is. But I think it's just like 20% of people think we're Nazis, and therefore, yeah, so we need to do something about that 20% of people. But I think overall MAGA is the best course of action, in my opinion. I think it has the best shot. He became pro-Trump by... He's talked about it before, because people have asked him, it's like, how did you become pro-Trump? And he said that I saw that his policies worked and that I was wrong, and then I met him and he was a really nice guy, and he's like I made a mistake and we learned from that mistake. A lot people call that flip-flopping. I call that learning from one's mistakes. Flip-flopping, in my opinion, the best definition of flip-flopping. I don't. I think he did it to be genuine, because after, it was around 2018, he started to become more pro-Trump. I think. Wait. No, 2020, he started to become more pro-Trump. So, I mean, unless it was like a long-term plan for the vice presidency, that's quite a long time to be going for the vice presidency. So I don't think that, but I like Vance a lot, actually. He's proven himself in my eyes. I mean, yeah, everyone knows Trump's old. But I don't know, we'll see. I like Vance, though. I don't think he has bad intentions. I think he's MAGA through and through now. Kind of like how Marco Rubio used to be anti-MAGA, and then he learned, and now he's like full-on MAGA, so. So yeah, I think that's the great thing about MAGA, in my opinion, is I think MAGA is probably the most welcoming political movement in American history. I've never seen a political movement this welcoming. Like, we're more than welcoming to Democrats. Like, please join us. We want you to join us. We want to talk. We want to discuss. We want to be friends. And that's how we managed to get like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and stuff like that onto our side. Man, my chair is very creaky today. I don't know why. It's annoying. So, my thoughts on the parade is it's a paper tiger. I think China is a paper tiger. I don't think they're powerful. Like, I mean, they're obviously a powerful country. Don't get me wrong. They are powerful. But they have no military experience. The last war they fought was almost 80 years ago. And they lost it. They lost that war. The last war they fought was with Vietnam, and they lost. So, I don't think they can win. Just because of the fact that they don't have modern military experience. My opinion on China is the first, like, let's say World War III happens. The first year of fighting will be on par between the United States and China. Like, it'll be like relatively same technology and stuff like that. But China has a fatal weakness, and it's that most of its technology and materials are imported. So if you blockade Chinese shipping, their economy is effectively crippled. So I think like the first year will be relatively on par. Then the second year, they'll start to run low on stuff because of that blockade. And then they'll be going back to the old Soviet style of fighting, which is just throw people at the enemy until we win, which has been proven that doesn't work in the modern age. So I don't think China could win. Like, not at all. But that's my opinion. China's navy is mostly fishing ships, like wooden boats and stuff, so and there's that as well. They count fishing vessels as naval ships to just make the number bigger. So, one missile, there goes a ship. One missile, there goes a ship. It's not really a big concern in my opinion. I do think they'll try something in 2027 with Taiwan, but I don't think they'll win. They do. And it's really funny because it almost always backfires for them. The last time they harassed, I think it was a Filipino ship, I think. The two Chinese Coast Guard vessels that were chasing the Filipino ship crashed into each other. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think they have... I don't think they have the overall experience to win. Another fact? What do you mean? Prized aircraft carrier. Let's put that in quotation marks. Prized aircraft carrier. It's it's a piece of crap. Literally. Yeah, they still use it. Well, I have to get off now. I have to end the stream. But, thank you guys for watching this. Just a little chill and cover the news stream. No, they don't. They do not. Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. I agree. That's a good point. Well, I have to get off now. I had some schoolwork to do. But thank you all for watching. Remember, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Remember 9/11. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Although we are debating on giving them F-35s. Have a good night, man. See you tomorrow. I'll be live again later tonight around 9:20ish. So, see you guys then. Yeah, I don't think they're getting it either. But adios, guys.